There's a big chemistry test tomorrow, so you spend the evening reviewing your notes and go to bed feeling confident. But during the test, you can't remember everything you knew last night, and when the grades come back, yours is lower than you'd expected. What do you usually do to study? People often study by rereading their textbook or notes. Studying this way can feel useful, but it's not always effective for long-term learning. In this lesson, we'll learn how active studying strategies can make study sessions more effective. Here are the essentials. People often think they're studying actively, but many common study methods don't engage the brain in actually thinking about the material, which is key to learning. Instead, they just consume information without doing anything else with it. This is called passive studying. Examples of passive studying include reviewing lectures or videos, rereading textbooks, notes, or study guides, copying notes word for word, highlighting or underlining. Passive studying can lead to the illusion of mastery, a false sense of having learned something. When people see or hear something multiple times, they start to recognize the information. It's easy to mistake this sense of recognition for actually knowing something, so people often think they've learned something when really their brain just remembers seeing it before. Then, when they need to use the information, they can't remember it or apply it. The more time passes between seeing something and trying to use it, the more likely this is to happen. What is the illusion of mastery? The illusion of mastery is a false sense of having learned or mastered something because the brain recognizes it as familiar. But like the term says, it's just an illusion. This feeling doesn't always mean you'll be able to remember the information on a test or apply it to new situations. A great way to avoid the illusion of mastery is active studying. Active study engages the brain by interacting with information in ways that build new connections and strengthen the connections that are already there, which helps people understand and remember what they learn. Active studying is like building superhighways in the brain. The stronger the pathways, the faster someone can access the information, and the longer they'll remember it. A good sign that you're engaged in active studying is that it feels difficult, or that you're making mistakes. Active studying should feel like work, which is true about active studying. Active studying builds new connections in the brain, so it's not always easy or comfortable, and mistakes are part of the process. Let's explore some active studying strategies. First, elaboration, explaining ideas in your own words. This helps your brain understand and remember new information. There are lots of ways to elaborate. Write a short summary of your notes at the bottom of each page. Organize information in different ways and relate it to other topics and ideas, like connecting a historic event to other things happening in the world around the same time. Take notes using a combination of visuals and words, like illustrations, diagrams, or concept maps. Explain the information to someone else, or even to yourself or a pet. Explain a diagram, graph, or map, and ask questions about what it shows. To practice, elaborate on this diagram by explaining what's happening in 1 to 3 sentences. Next, concretization, using examples or analogies to explain abstract ideas. Putting ideas in concrete terms makes them easier to understand and remember. For example, interdependence is a very abstract concept, but it's easier to understand with a concrete example, like the relationship between two birds, Arctic terns and North Atlantic puffins. These two species nest on the same islands and depend on one another. Puffins dive deep underwater and scare fish to the surface where terns can catch them. And terns are very protective, helping keep the puffin nests safe. You can collect concrete examples provided by your teacher or textbook, or you can make up your own. Either way, make sure you can explain how they connect to the idea, which is another example of interdependence. Soccer players on the same team help each other out, so they are interdependent. In addition to studying actively while learning new information, it's important to continue engaging with it after you've learned it. Retrieval practice is remembering or retrieving what you've learned. It works best through shorter study sessions spread out over time rather than a longer cram session. These are a few ways to practice remembering what you've learned. Brain dump. Write everything you know about a topic, then check it against your textbook or notes. Flashcards include big ideas as well as vocabulary, and practice with both sides to help you remember things in a flexible way. Self-quizzing. Test yourself with questions from a textbook or practice test, or write your own. A key part of retrieval practice is checking and correcting, so it's not enough to just take a practice quiz. Be sure to check your answers and correct any mistakes to help you learn the information correctly. Study tip: do retrieval practice in the same way you'll be tested. If the exam will be an essay and short answer test, practice with essay and short answer questions. What is the best schedule for retrieval practice? Retrieval practice is usually most effective when it's done in many short study sessions spaced out over time. Active studying can help you learn more effectively, so you can remember information when you need it. To make it work for you, remember: avoid the illusion of mastery. Explain in your own words. Use examples and analogies. Quiz yourself. Embrace the difficulty. Now try it out yourself. Pick one active studying strategy to try tonight. Which strategy did you choose, and why? When it comes to active studying, those are the key points. Thanks for unlocking your potential with us.